Hello everyone, this is grade 6, module 5, lesson 11, problem set. So for the problem set, the first thing we'll do is we'll go to 2 because I'll answer most of the parts in question 1 on different questions. What I mean is we'll first look at the volume and then we'll start looking at different size lengths. So the first one says calculate the volume of the following prisms. So we have a rectangular prism. And I know that I have two formulas I can look at. The one that I'm going to look at is length times width times height. So now I'm going to plug in. My length is 24 centimeters. I'm going to multiply that by my width of 2 2/3 centimeters. And then by my height, which is 4.5 centimeters. Now, notice where my multiplication dots are. They're not down below to make them decimal points. They're right up in the middle. So the first thing I do is there's a couple ways to tackle this. I like turning them all to fractions because I see I'm working with mixed numbers. So in order to do that, I know that with a whole number, all I have to do is put it over 1. I'm going to keep my units. For the 2 2/3, I'll show you the long way to start, and then you'll be able to use your shortcut for it. So 2 2/3, if I want to break up this 2, I know that 3 over 3, and I'm using thirds because that's the unit I'm working with for the fraction. 3/3 is 1 whole. And another 3/3 is my second whole. So when I break apart 2 into 1 and 1, it's really 3/3 and 3/3. And I know if I add those, I'm going to get 6/3. And then I can add in my other 2/3. So my 6/3 equals 2. And then I put in my 2/3. And I'm going to end up with 8/3. And that's equivalent to 2 2/3. The way that you're probably doing it, and this is the way to do it once you understand that part, is I can multiply and add. Meaning 3 times 2 is 6, plus my other 2 is 8, and then I keep my denominator or my units. This part right here is just showing why that works. So I have 8/3, and then I'll do the same thing here for 4.5. I can multiply and add, and I get 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Halves. So I'm keeping my denominator or my units. Now I can go ahead and multiply these across. So I would do 24 times 8, and then that times 9. And I'm going to show that work off to the side. So I've shown my work over here to the side, and I got 24 times 8, which is this one times 8, to get 192, and then I multiplied that by 9 to get 1,728. And then on the bottom, I can do that in my head. 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. So right there is the first part of my volume, and now I don't have centimeters. I have centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, and I know that that's cubed, because if I did 1 to the 3rd power, or the power of 3, it'd be 1 times 1 times 1. Centimeters cubed, or to the 3rd power, is centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, which is exactly what we just did right there. So now the last thing I have left to do is divide this out. So I'm going to do 1,728 divided by 6, and I'll do this one so you can see it. And I'm going to show my long division here. And this is really going to, if it doesn't come out even, then we can either go to a decimal or to a fraction. But this one looks like it's going to come out even, and it will. and I get 288. So I'm going to put that in. My volume equals 288. And again, the most important part, or one of the most important parts of this, is my units, and that's centimeters cubed. So again, I used my formula right here, plugged in, changed my mixed numbers to fractions, multiplied, and then turned them back into out of a improper fraction form, or fraction greater than 1, into my number. So let's take a look on page 2, because it looks like B is very similar, the same thing, same process. Okay, so on this page, the first thing that I want to do is take a look at 3. And we see that we have a rectangular prism with a volume of 12 cubic units filled with cubes twice. So the first one is cubes with a half unit side, and one with a third unit side. So that's not their volumes, that's the measurements. So what that means is, I'll try my best here to draw this. This is a half, this is a half, and this is a half. So that's what it's telling me, and the same thing can be said for this one, except now we're talking about thirds. So if I am talking about this rectangular prism, it's going to have 12 cubic units, meaning they already found the volume. So the first thing we want to do is find the volume of a cube that measures like this, and a volume of a cube that measures like this, and then we can figure out how many of those are going to fit inside of this. So that's going to help us out here, because if we look at A, it says how many more of the cubes with 1/3 side lengths than cubes with 1/2 side lengths are needed to fill the prism. So we have to find the volume of both of those. So let's go over here first. And I see that I have all of them are going to be a half. So I'm going to use length times width times height. And I'm going to do 1/2. And I'll use units times 1/2 times 1/2. And I'm going to bring my units there with it. So when I multiply across, I have 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And again, I have units cubed, because I have units times units times units. So that's for this one. My other one, I'm going to do length times width times height again, and this time it's 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. And it's because of this right here, that cube. So I know I have 1 on top, because 1 times 1 times 1. And then 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So 27 units cubed. Now, for each of these, I gotta look at this, and that's one of the cubes. So in order for it to fit inside of 1 cubic unit, I'm going to need 8 of these small ones. So that's a tough thing to kind of keep in your mind is, so for these ones, if I have 8 of these, 8 1/8 cubic units, that equals 1 unit cubed, because I only have 1/8. So if I need 7 more of these to make a 1 unit cubed, because 1 equals 8/8. And right now I only have 1/8, so I need 7 more of them. And once I hit 8/8, that's when I get the 1 whole. So if 8 cubes are needed to make 1, how many are needed to make my 12 that I have filled there? And what I need to do is I'm going to take my 12 and I'm going to multiply it by 8 because I need 8 cubes to get me to 1. Now I need to go to 12. So I'm going to do 8 times 12, and that's going to get me 96. Which means, and I'll go back up here to the top, I need 96 cubes of the half inch or the half unit ones. Now, if we take a look at the 1/3, I see that I have 1 over 27. So how many do I need to get 1 unit cubed? Well, I have 1/27th, meaning I need 27 over 27 to get 1 whole. So it looks like if I only have 1, I need 26 more plus this. So I need 27 of those cubes to make 1 unit. And if I'm looking to get 12 units cubed, it means I need to do 27 times 12. Because for every 27 of these 3rd unit cubes, I get 1 unit. I then need to multiply it by 12 to get me 12. So I'm at 324. And that's how many of these 1/3 cubes I'll need, or 3rd unit cubes. 324 3rd unit cubes. So to answer part A, how many more cubes with 1/3 side length than cubes with 1/2 side length are needed to fill? So I had 96 of the half ones, and I had 324 of the 3rd ones. So to find how many more, I just have to subtract those out. And I need 228 more cubes. More 1/3 cubes than half cubes. And when I say half cubes, I mean the length. This length here that we started with, unit sides. I don't mean 1/3 inch cubes. I mean the 1/3 side. So if we take a look at B, finally the prism is filled with cubes whose side lengths are 1/4 unit. How many quarter unit cubes would it take to fill the prism? So the first thing we have to look at is, and I'm going to do it down below because I'm running out of room. If I draw my cube, this time they're fourths, I know that I can find the volume of that with length times width times height, meaning 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. And 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. And those are units cubed. So if that's the volume of one of these cubes right here, I need 64 of these, 64 cubes will equal 1 unit cubed, because 64 over 64 equals 1. So now I'm going to take that 64 and I'm going to multiply it by my 12. And we have 768 of those cubes are needed to fill that 12 unit cube shape or prism. So that'll help you out with 4 and 5 in terms of figuring out what you're going to be doing. Now I notice here with 5 real quick as I'm looking at it, they're giving you the volume, they give you the height, and they give you the length. So now you're going to try to find the width for it. So again, you're going to use length, width, and height for 5. Plug in this one for your volume, this one for your height, and this one for your length, and leave the W where it is. And then use what you know with solving equations to solve the rest of it for your equation here for B. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.